This next one's the same place, only a little closer. And this may be barite or possibly dolomite in veins. So I understand there's a lot of dolomite around this area that you can go and pick up. It also fluoresces, I hear. So if you take a black light down there at night without falling into the ocean. This slide is obviously at Point Vicente, and it shows the basalt within the tufaceous unit of the Altamira shale. And anywhere it's exposed above the sea waves, it gets highly weathered, and that's why it's orange colored or rusty colored. This is another exposure of the tufaceous member of the Altamira shale in Crenshaw Extension. Crenshaw Extension has the best exposure of the Monterey Formation from the top to the bottom. The top is the younger part, and the bottom of the trail is the other part. Does everybody know where Crenshaw Extension is? No. Okay, Crenshaw Extension is not a paved road, but Crenshaw Boulevard or Avenue, what is the name of it? Crenshaw Boulevard stopped, and they were when they were building it in 1956, they bulldozed down there and put some of the fill dirt on the landslide, and that caused the Portuguese Bend active landslide, which is still active. But I'll get into that a little bit. But this is just one part of it, and let's see next one. This one is at White's Point, the eastern end of White's Point, which White's Point has recumbent folds, and I'll show that when we get to the folds. But this is a very complex fold because you can see it wrapping up here, but these rocks are dipping down that way. So it's pretty complex. I'm not sure what's going on there, but unfortunately it's eroded away, so we can't see the rocks as how they actually went. Next. Okay, this is another unit. This is the middle unit of the Altamira shale, the Cherty lithofacies, and it's about 16 meters thick. And this is exposed in Georgia, in Crenshaw Extension. Next, please. Above that is the phosphatic lithofacies, which is diatomaceous shale, and it has phosphate nodules in it. You can actually pick those out. I think this exposure, most of the geologists have picked out the larger ones. They look like sweet potatoes. Next one. And above that is the Altamira, the Valmonte diatomite. It's a member of the Monterey Formation above the Altamira shale, and it is it's a diatomite and a diatomaceous shale too. And it on the northern part of Palos Verdes, it was mined for diatomite years ago. Now they've been filled in with trash dumps. And the other member as Woodring labeled it is the Mulligan Mudstone. Mulligan Mudstone is a clay shale, and it's a black or dark gray. Very hard to see because it's softer than most of the other rocks, and so it's hard to find. This is in a trench that was dug. I think Steve Jakobs took this picture. Steve's going to talk to the next group. Okay, that above that is the San Pedro Sand. This is a very good exposure of the Point Fermin sand that you can see on our street here, Paseo del Mar. And you can see all kinds of geologic structures in it that are interesting to the geologists. This is a beautiful exposure at Point Fermin. There's a Coast Guard lighthouse, and it's right below that. And this deposit was supposedly cut into a subsea canyon and filled with several hundred feet of this stuff. But it's very limited aerially. But it's a terrific thing to look at, and that's a good place to go and see it. The Pleistocene units, there are four Pleistocene units. The three lower ones are Middle Miocene age, and they are overlain more or less horizontally at the place we're going to look at them on 2nd Street by the Palos Verdes sand. This is shows the ages of the Pleistocene units, and this thing below here is information about the various terraces that were named, so I'm not going to cover that. So this shows the ages of each one of them. And the ages are not one on top of the other because they are various places they were found pitching out or overlapping one or the other, and so the ages you can see don't just go from one to the other up. But this one is definitely the younger one. Now this is Steve Jakobs, my associate here, who's going to talk for the next group. Went back into the literature and found all of the places where there were fossils in the Pleistocene. And he's not going to talk about every one of these, but he's going to cover just a couple of them. All of these things, there are just hundreds and hundreds, thousands maybe, fossils found and identified through the years by hundreds of different geologists and paleontologists. And this is, Palos Verdes is a world-class fossil locality for Pleistocene. And I'm sure the museums have some, there may be some in here, who knows. Chandler Quarry, that's what I was trying to think of. This was a map, an older map, and it was in this area, Chandler Quarry, that's dug down into the San Pedro sandstone. And this is a picture that Steve Jakobs took and drew a line between the San Pedro sand and the Palos Verdes sand, and then above it is the Terrace sands. Now this shows 3 slides along 2nd Street, and this is a good place to see the Pleistocene, and it's easy to see because it's right on 2nd Street between Mesa and this is an alley here. This is the Lomita Maro, which is dipping. The true dip is about 30 degrees. And overlying it over here is the Timms Point silt, and it's dipping somewhat less. And then at the end is the San Pedro Sand, and it is dipping about 17 degrees. So from 30 to 17 degrees, the dip is less, which meant that uplift was going on, but it was less by the time the San Pedro Sand was deposited. But then on top of that, a wave-cut bench, a horizontal bench here, and the Palos Verdes sand, about a foot or two in thickness, with scads of fossils in it, was on top of that, cut right across it. So it was not folded by the uplift of the Palos Verdes, or the last gasp of the uplift. It was flat there. Next one. The highest fold of the that is on Palos Verdes, and they're on the sides of that anticlinorium are lots of other folds. And this shows Bluff Cove area, and the anticlinorium ends there in the west. This is the San Onofre breccia, a little bit of it. And then on top of that's the Monterey. And you can see lots of folds in the Monterey. Next one. This slide is a little hard to see, but well, let's go to the next one. Tom Dibley couldn't see the Palos Verdes fault up here, and in fact, dozens of trenches have been done in here. I've got to stop, I guess.